Alright, so today I just wanted to do a small little demonstration of a rose or a flower. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be a rose, but just an easy way to paint flowers, okay? Now, I'm not even looking at anything. This is just sort of an exercise to show you one of the ways that I like to paint flowers from my imagination. So basically, this is a portrait that I'm working on here, and you'll see I've done a bunch of little vines and what appears to be just black blobs back there, or dark red blobs, and that's just a alizarin crimson. And so what I'm going to do is, since I've already laid down this with the alizarin crimson and Gamsol, just so it's already mostly dry, just because I used the Gamsol about 20 minutes ago or so, I'm going to do what I've taught you guys how to do before: back to front and dark to light. So I've mixed here alizarin crimson and kind of just toned it with a little cad red medium here, some titanium white. So we have 3 different shades, and then just a warmer shade, which is mostly just cad medium, a tiny little bit of Indian yellow, and some white. So these are my cooler shades, and then we can come in later to add some warmth to it. But for now, I'm just gonna start with the darkest of the dark. And so what I'm going to do is, might as well start with this one here. So I'm just going to start to, define some petals. And this is an imaginary flower. I'm just making this up. Sort of a Bob Ross situation where it's not really, there's no reference, but that's okay. Just putting a couple of little petals like that in there. Super basic. Right now I'm kind of just sketching, thinking about where I want the petals to be. Then from there, up a tone. Start to really place those petals in there. I'm thinking about planes right now. Not the kind of planes that fly in the sky, but like picture planes. So just the implying a flower, I want it to feel like there's a flower there. And it does not necessarily have to be perfect flower, whatever a perfect flower is. Let's see what I'm doing. That up to the lighter tone like this, and kind of just to the side of each of those before. Start to go in like so. That. Now, of course, if you are looking at a flower, you do sort of see a reference that you're working from. That is also great, and I recommend you try this exercise on your own. Just make some imaginary flowers. Okay, so now I've got this. It looks kind of this little amorphous blob. Now I can add in some of the cad red medium with a touch of Indian yellow. Add some warmth to the flower. So I'm going right back into where we were doing the darks and lights. Here, we'll kind of just add a little bit of warmth there. And I'm letting some of this dark alizarin crimson base stay on there because I want it to have depth. And maybe while you're painting, you're starting to notice, like, okay, you know what? I want there to be another petal. Like, maybe I want there to be a petal here as well. And you find that you're kind of covering up where the alizarin crimson is, and that's okay, because you can always go back in and redefine that. Alright, so now I've got my sort of blobby looking flower there. I think what I want to do now is, like I said, we can go back in, tap back into this just straight up alizarin crimson now. And this can work with really any variants and tones. I'm just doing a red flower, but you can do it with whatever colors you want. It's all about darks to lights. So now I'm going to go back in, start to go back in with this so I can redefine where I want my petals to be. You'll have to excuse me for not being so great about focusing on the place I'm painting perfectly, and it's hard to paint, and sorry about that. All right. And so now I've gone ahead and added back in some shadows throughout it, which is nice. So now what I want to do is, it can be nice to kind of go in there, and I want to actually define some of the petals. And so what I'm going to do, got my sweet little liner brush here. I'm going to got a little bit of Gamsol in there, need a touch of some titanium white. Go in there with my liner brush, nice and Gamsoled up, and now I'm going to go around the edges of the petals like this. You can see now it's starting to actually become a petal. Defining that shape. Liner brush can be very fun. I'm just exploring, having a good time, messing around with it, you know. It's always fun to paint from the imagination because it's your world, just as the legend Bob Ross would say it. It's okay to make mistakes, and see, look at that. See that fun little mistake I just made right there? That's okay. And what I think I'll do, get a little bit of green and just turn that into another vine right back there. And go in and define that edge a little bit later on. Fix that mistake. But for now, I just want to keep on going in with this liner brush, finding different edges that define the flower. I think it'd be nice to have another petal maybe right here. So now we've kind of got this wonkety little flower going on here, because we've just blobbed it up. But what we can do is grab a tiny little baby brush here and just go in and start blending the darks into the lights. So fast mode. So now I've got this flower and it kind of looks a little bit flat, but that's okay because I just put in the first base layer of petals, right? Now I want to add another layer of petals. So I'm gonna go back in, some more alizarin crimson. Now I'm gonna add in the next petals, the next layer. Okay, now repeat the same thing I've added in the darks for the next layer of petals. Now I'm gonna go in and add in some lights. Give these petals some form. I'm really getting thick with it. I like that, it's fun. Alright, now I'm going to go back in with my handy dandy liner brush, define these petals a little bit more. Maybe I'll blend out a little bit more with my baby brush. Start to drop some shadows underneath where I've decided my petals are going to be. Now things should start to really be coming to fruition. You know, we've laid down the petals. You've successfully kind of created a flower from scratch, you know. And I'm just doing one of these right now. I'm gonna do these all throughout. And what's cool about doing things like this way, without really having a reference and doing something from your imagination, is these are your flowers. Every single one of these is going to be unique from your mind, and it'll really add something cool to the painting, you know. It's like, these are something from your mind, you know, you don't have a reference. This is, you know, you can do this with trees, you can do this with anything. All that's important to remember is back to front, dark to light. I might even want to add in a couple more petals like here and there, but I just wanted to show you guys, you know, a basic exercise. Flowers are great, you can use them anywhere. Anyway, quest. Try to make 10 flowers. They don't have to be the same color, but I want them to be completely from your imagination. Have at it.